Very pretty and pretty windy. Look at the size of that storm in the North Atlantic. Wind from the west. The clock my brother gave me for my birthday. Hi, Bob. Happy birthday to you. 9:20. And we're 63 degrees indoors, and the wind velocity on the 55-year-old anemometer says it's only 5 to 10. But we know better than that, T-Rex, huh? It's very windy outside. As a matter of fact, thousands are without electricity in New England this morning. Did they say it was going to be this windy? Well, we knew it was going to be a lot of variety in the weather with the wind coming in from the west and northwest and many fronts. The front's going to stall over us, and that storm in the North Atlantic. Here's that satellite image I just showed a second ago. Look at the size of that thing, taking up almost the entire North Atlantic from North America almost to Europe, picking up Tropical Storm Leslie, what's left of Milton, and whipping it across the Atlantic. And that storm there is stalled. It's about a 960 millibar low. We've been talking about the weather in Greenland for so long, and it's a storm south of Greenland now. And the barometer over Greenland, a high pressure system, is still at about 1045 millibars. So imagine the wind in Greenland, and that high extends down into eastern Canada and into the Great Lakes states. And in New England, we have a front going through right this minute. Here's the surface analysis in New England from just before the sun came up. These are a little dated, but you see all those lines. Those are isobars, lines of equal pressure. And the more isobars you have over you, the more wind there's going to be. And here on Cape Cod, where the front has not come through yet, it's nice. It's 65 degrees. So real pretty. It's very dry frontal passage. We call it faux pas. There has been some rain in Maine. And let's go to the top of New England, the summit of Mount Washington. It was 36 degrees just before sunrise at 6 a.m. And then by 9 a.m. down to 26 degrees. So it's getting a lot colder very fast up in the sky, where the wind gusted to 121 miles per hour on Mount Washington this morning. So there was a little tiny thaw, and that's done. And now it's probably just icing on top of Mount Washington as the satellite imagery over the northeast shows the clouds are just kind of evaporating over Vermont and New Hampshire. A pretty day. And in Maine, those clouds are going to go by and leave. Now, it's not just that storm in Greenland. You also see on the surface analysis that there's a 989 low on the front north of Caribou. So that up against the old 1025 high that's going off to the southeastern states. Jot underneath that high in South Carolina this morning. Remember Jot Ross from Ashland? He moved to South Carolina. It was 37 degrees in South Carolina this morning. That was about 26 degrees colder than Worcester, where we started the day at 63. So it was warmer up in the hills of southern New England this morning. The Boston 5-day says, nice day today. This wind is diminishing fairly quickly this afternoon. So while many spots are gusting to 40 miles an hour this morning, by this afternoon we're gusting more like 20 to 25, dry air. The dew point's going down to the upper 30s. And tomorrow, the clouds are coming in fairly quickly. The same front that's going by as a cold front is going to come back as a warm front, and the temperature tomorrow may struggle to 55 and may not rain in Boston, but there is going to be some rain in New England, and then it turns a little warmer in Boston and points south tomorrow night, and then Monday, here comes another cold front, and the cold and the wind come back. Monday, there'll be a slack in the wind. By Tuesday, we're gusting back to 35 to 40 miles an hour again, so lots of rapid-fire changes coming up. Let me show you some of these Weather Prediction Center surface maps. This afternoon, there's the high pressure building in southeastern Canada. Low pressure to low pressure to the south on the front is going to be just developing, and then another high in the southeastern United States. So a front is a boundary. That Canadian high pushing the air toward the south, and that high over the southeastern United States trying to push the air to the north. And that boundary is going to really light up with storm systems. If you look at tomorrow evening, there's a low coming across into southern New England on a warm front, and then there's another low over the Great Lakes kind of pressing east as a cold front. And the position of this front over the next 3 days is going to be kind of critical to what the air is doing, whether it's raining or snowing perhaps in the mountains. And if this Weather Prediction Center map is right, it's a colder day on Monday than the guidance we're going to look at, the same guidance we look at every day. It's called the Euro. And the Euro guidance, I guess we should just go right to the Euro guidance. Actually, I want to talk more about that Greenland storm. Where did that come from, that huge storm south of Greenland? I traced it back. I remember when Milton was in the Gulf of Mexico and the National Hurricane Center had the invest area to the east of Florida. There was a low that we thought perhaps could become subtropical storm Nadine. Back on Wednesday morning, that was about 1,000 millibar low southwest of Bermuda. That's the one that moved north into the North Atlantic and deepened to that 960 millibar bomb that's filling up the whole North Atlantic this morning. And that storm south of Greenland is actually wobbling toward the west. And as that wobbles toward the west, you can see it here a little bit in the big continental picture, and that's going to cause the cold air to bundle in southeastern Canada. And then what do we do with the frontal boundary that's stalled over us? If it races away, we dry out. If it stalls and stays here, then we stay wet after the Monday situation. So I'm going to show the HRRR for the guidance here in New England to begin with. The black lines today, that's just the wind. The red line is 546, warm enough that it's not snow. The 540 line is blue, cold enough for where it may snow. And here comes the precipitation in tonight and then tomorrow, mostly right across central New England, right along the boundary. And if you look, there's some blue showing up there in southern Vermont at the tops of the mountains. I think this is overdone, but green is rain and blue is snow. Purple is sort of a mix with some sleet. And the HRRR is trying to say it is going to snow in the tops of our mountains in Vermont, New Hampshire, and western Maine tomorrow. So that is, I think, wrong. I don't think that the atmosphere is cold enough for that. Macy and Anne Marie. Hey, let's go down the beach. She knows. All my neighbors know that I'm making, yep, you're in the shadow, so we can't quite see you. Hi. T-Rex wishes he wasn't tied up right now, but he is, because I got to finish this video. All right, now let's go to the same kind of guidance that we use every day. It's called the ECMWF, Pivotal Weather. And here it is going into motion. There's our front going by and then stalling off to the south. And then if we stop it tomorrow, not going to stop it tomorrow. Tomorrow the precip comes and goes a little bit. And then I'm going to stop it on Monday morning at 11 a.m., just like we did yesterday, and it looks almost identical to yesterday's run. So what you look for in confidence is consistency, and there's a 995 low over Lake Ontario, and there's a bagginess in the isobars right over Boston. There's a new low developing somewhere right near you, Pete, in Gloucester, Massachusetts. There's going to be a new low forming. So that's a triple point where the occlusion meets the warm front meets the cold front, and then that low is going to take over and deepen in Maine. And this is a very similar look to how it was yesterday. And we'll put it back in motion. That low moves to the north as a 990, and that's a strong storm, so it's going to become windy. Any place that the wind slacks on Monday morning is going to pick right back up Monday night. And Tuesday, that low is stalled and wobbling to our north. High pressure off to the west is a cold high, and the blue lines, 540, 534, even 528. That's cold enough for snow, almost down to 2,000 feet. But note, there's not a lot of precipitation, and it's mostly colored green. So the Euro says, not so gung-ho on snow. And it does look like a pretty decent J-cloud type event. So there is going to be a coating of snow in our mountains. But whether it's worth hiking up a mountain to try and find some double-digit stash, well, I guess where it blows, it'll be a double-digit stash, up probably above 3,000 feet. But then it's kind of coming and going right through Wednesday, and then Thursday morning, that's when it really lifts out. There's Thursday morning, and now you have that strong high-pressure system coming in that we talked about for so many days coming in. Next weekend's looking pretty good there, although it does look like there's some backdoor front potential. And that high Sunday into Monday, now we're about October 21, and we'll stop it there in day 10, and the high is starting to push off, and it's wall-to-wall cold in Canada. Kind of like to see that if you're eager to see winter start early around here, although you really don't want big October storms. And if you slide to the south, you see that the potential for that system coming off Africa, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring, could be Nadine there passing and recurving out south of Bermuda. So like we said, we have to watch that. And even if Nadine doesn't form, this strong high over the northeast is going to create a lot of wind and more rain in Florida. where the disaster is sort of ongoing. Even though Milton and Helene have gone, the cleanup is going to become wet and windy here late next week on the south side of this high that's coming at us. So the reason I said that you really don't want an early snowstorm in October is because usually those years don't work out as good winters. So I'll take just a skim coating of snow coming up in our mountains. This is going to be a play-by-play. It's obviously a work in progress with this. So I guess I'm done. I wanted to make it a quick edit, and yesterday was fairly quiet. It's just T-Rex and I leaving Weymouth, and it was a pretty day, and it was a windy day yesterday, and now it calmed down right when the sun went down. We went down to the pond here and got some pretty imagery from sunset here in Fallon's Pond, where there are some whitecaps today. And so the one thing that's certain about the weather over the next couple days is it's going to be changing every 6 hours. I think this is the best part of it right now. Talk to you tomorrow. Happy birthday, Bob. Past 2 o'clock. We get the two fur balls right next to each other. Sometimes you can't even tell where one starts or stops. The tail and the head look like one. The beauty of a Maine Coon. 2 of them. They don't come on the road. T-Rex and I are headed south. So we've got the end of summer chores that have been delayed to take care of in Bass River. Next stop. What do you see, T-Rex? Any pretty trees out there? Oh yeah, you don't have to chase foliage. It'll come to you. I would say cemeteries are some of the prettiest spots. Route 3 headed south to Cape Cod. Also, leaves turn faster down here. Look at that. Some of those swamp maples have already lost their leaf. Serious traffic waves also. Oh, waves are shifting. Yeah, but trees. From the Fore River to the Bass River. Mayfair. And we do love seasonal decorations, don't we, T-Rex? And T-Rex knows where we are, too. He knows when we get back to Weymouth. And he knows when we get back to Dennis. I'm not sure about Vermont. Last time we were here, pretty good flood going on. That beach, now it's just gorgeous. So what do you say? Call it a day. And for a change, have an easy edit. What is it, Rex? What is it? You want to go out and play with the people? So there's our beach, and our float has to come in this weekend. That float right there. Gorgeous night. Don't know if there's any more aurora, but there certainly is a moon. I think it's back there somewhere. T-Rex. There it is. The harvest moon. Bending, stretching. All right, play us out, Captain. Space time. Up and down, round and round is the name of the tune. How about dual time lapse? Weymouth and Cape Cod.